The movie opens with him surviving his seventh plane crash, which I thought was such a wonderful detail. He survives that. This causes him to try and reconnect with his daughter, Mia Threepleton, who hasn't seen in many years. She's becoming a nun. He wants her to become the sole heir to his company and help him achieve his Phoenician scheme, which basically is just him trying to go around fleecing his various business partners and family members into paying the gap, the amount of money that he doesn't have to finish this giant scheme. But what's fascinating to me, and what seems to fascinate Wes Anderson, is this idea of men of incredible flaws, the very egotistical men who are put through something that forces them to kind of examine themselves and become a little bit better. He did this with Bill Murray in Rushmore. Who, he's a asshole businessman, but he was also a guy who wanted to be better so he could, be with this woman and get her to fall in love with him. Then you've got, Gene Hackman in Royal Tenenbaums, who is, again, he's an asshole. He's a real jerk to his family. He's a businessman who doesn't seem like he cares, but he wants to reconnect with his kids late in his life and genuinely desires that. And that's kind of the story it's a redemption arc in the weirdest way, because the characters aren't necessarily acting any differently. They're just, but slowly but surely, under the surface, they're becoming better people. And it's almost like Wes Anderson is sneaking in a very conventional story behind this very unusual package. And I've always loved the way he does that. He does that in pretty much all of the movies, but here I thought it was really effective. Benicio del Toro and Mia Threepleton, the whole thing is so interesting. There's the tagline for this movie is if something is in your way, flatten it. And it seems to me like that's exactly what Wes Anderson is doing via the performances, where he just takes all of the kind of energy and the cadence of a typical actor and just flattens the performances. But he's also playing the story underneath that. So the staccato tone is actually covering up what is actually a very active, bubbling story that's taking place with Corda realizing the amount of trouble that he's in and having these nightmares about, going to heaven and not being able to get in, having to justify himself to get in. And his daughter, of course, coming the other direction. She's full of faith in God, but is kind of being pulled away from her faith, and them kind of meeting in the middle. I thought there's so many rich layers to this storytelling that you really don't, if you're not like really paying attention, you might miss behind all of the, the various touches that Wes Anderson does, the flat, staccato rhythm of the dialogue, the very stylized settings, his very stylized camera movements.